I was 28, broke in an artful way, and living in a studio above a bakery in Astoria, Oregon. On foggy mornings, the whole town smelled like sugar and ocean, like a ferry drifted through a donut shop. I wrote to that smell, the windows cracked, the river clanging boats together like bells. My book was called The Saltthorn Crown. It had taken me 3 years, 2 broken leases, and one spectacularly ill-advised relationship to finish. It was the kind of indie fantasy you can't stop describing with your hands. Tide calendars that decided who lived or died. A queen with a crown grown from glass antlers. Salt harvesters who sang to the ocean and the ocean sometimes sang back. The main character, Rena, kept a ledger of debts paid in shells. No one else had that ledger. It was mine. My ex-agent, but we're not there yet, was named Miranda Cross. She lived in New York and liked to say things like, "Babe," and "I'm obsessed with your voice." We'd been querying and submitting for a year. There were almost that turned into maybes that turned into, "We're going to pass," with emails that used a lot of commas and kindness. And then, one Tuesday in March, Miranda called me from a cab. "Babe," she said, already laughing, already out of breath. "You sitting down?" I was standing in the bakery line, watching a tray of cardamom knots get glazed. "I can sit," I said, sliding to a bar stool by the window. "What's up?" "We have heat," she said. "Editor at Blue Lantern is circling. Another at Emberline. I'm trying to coordinate a preempt. I need you to send me the clean copy again. Last draft, no notes." My heart punched my ribs, a friendly assault. "Sent," I said after a frantic scramble through Scrivener folders, labeled final, final, and really, final. "Okay," Miranda said. "And trust me, go celebrate. But don't post anything yet." I didn't post. I didn't even text my mother. I bought a single cardamom knot and a coffee I couldn't afford. I carried them to my desk and stared at the steam. Then I opened the draft and read the first line out loud like it wasn't mine. It still felt like a miracle. 2 weeks later, Miranda went quiet. Emails bounced. A calendar invite for offer call moved 3 times, then vanished. When she finally picked up, her tone had changed, like the weather. "Publishing is a glacier," she said. "Never mistake motion for progress." "Are we okay?" I asked. My voice made me sound 12. "Totally," she said. "I'm just working the angles. Babe, don't spiral." Then she was gone again. I tried not to spiral. I wrote more. I walked the riverwalk and counted seals. I made a TikTok where I read a paragraph to a camera balanced on a stack of flour sacks. 100 people watched. Then 1,000. Then 10,000. Book Talk found me like a tide lifts a stranded boat. They stitched my videos and wrote, "I need this now," in all caps, and I cried into my sleeve, quietly, because the neighbors could hear everything. I sent Miranda the numbers. I told her a librarian in Ohio asked to pre-order 5 copies. She heart-reacted. "Babe," she wrote. "Love this. Sitting tight." So, Saturday, you already know what's coming. You probably saw the clip before I did. A month later, on a sunny Saturday that felt like a reward for surviving winter, I went to Powell's in Portland with my best friend Eli. We do this when we need proof the world still loves paper. We walk the aisles and let book spines tell us who we are. We were by the staff picks when a display caught my eye. "Debut of the season," the sign said in brushy blue letters. A woman with perfect bangs beamed from a poster. Her book was called Crown of Brine. The tagline: "A queen with glass antlers rules the tide like a ledger of blood." I couldn't breathe for a second. I picked it up, hands numb, and flipped. A map of a crescent bay with salt flats. An opening line about the ocean, whispering debts into a girl's ear. Salt harvesters who sang. "Z?" Eli said softly. His hand landed on my elbow. "You're white as the flour bags." I laughed. Nothing funny in it. "Look," I said. He did. His jaw flexed. "Okay," he said. "Okay, we're leaving. We're buying it," I said, and my voice surprised me. "We're buying it and we're reading it and then we're burning it in my sink if we need to." He didn't argue. We paid. The cashier smiled like the poster. "Everyone's obsessed with this one." she said. Can't keep it on the shelf. Cool, I said. Obsessed. The word tasted like chemicals. We read Crown of Brine at my kitchen table, like it was evidence. We found my sentences wearing someone else's coat. Not exact, never exact, but too close. The shell ledger was now tithe beads, but the math was the same. The queen's glass antlers were glass horns, but they shattered in the same scene. There was even a tide calendar drawn like a compass, with dates that decided guilt. And it was little things. A scene where the MC hides in a salt shed, counting to 72, because her mother's age was 72 when she died. That number wasn't random. It was my mother's actual age when she died. It was the one thing I didn't think anyone would ever steal, because why would they? Why would they? Call Miranda, Eli said. Now, I called. She picked up on the second ring and sounded delighted to hear from me. Babe. I didn't say hello. I'm holding a book that is my book, I said. Silence. Then, that's a big claim. It's a true one, I said. The crown. The debt ledger. The tide calendar. My mother's age. She exhaled. That's a stretch. I pressed my thumb into the table hard enough to leave a crescent. Did you send my manuscript to anyone without telling me? She laughed, light as powdered sugar. Of course not. Zadie. I sent you the clean draft, I said. The day you asked for it. You said 2 editors were circling. Then you ghosted me. Then this appears. Coincidence exists, she said, her voice cooling. Fantasy has tropes. Salt. Crowns. Antlers. It's all in the soup. My mother's age is not in the soup, I said. You're being unprofessional, she said. Take a breath. And don't do anything rash online. It will make you look unhinged. Then the line crackled and died. I stared at my phone until my thumbprint fogged the screen. What did she say? Eli asked. I swallowed the shake in my chest. She told me not to spiral, I said. Again. Eli was already opening his laptop. Okay, he said. Let's be boringly methodical. Do you still have your email chain with her? Contracts? Submission lists? I did. I had everything. I'm a writer. Hoarding is a love language. Emails with attachments. Google Doc histories with timestamps. Scrivener backups that could testify under oath. We pulled it all up. We found the day she asked for the clean draft. We found the revision notes where I had changed the queen's glass antlers from spines because it looked cooler in the moonlight. We found an auto-generated link I didn't recognize. Wait, Eli said, highlighting. What's this? A link to a Dropbox folder I never made. A share from Miranda's agency email to a list of addresses hidden behind initials. The subject line made my skin crawl. Package. Saltthorn retitle options attached. The date was 3 days after she asked me for the clean draft. There were 10 attachments and a PDF I didn't recognize. Comparative analysis, Saltthorn versus market. He clicked. The PDF opened. Tables. Loglines. And a list of comp authors at the agency names I knew from Twitter, including the woman with the perfect bangs. My mouth went dry. She bundled your book into a package, Eli said, voice weirdly calm. She pitched your world as a set of pieces. My stomach turned. Maybe, I whispered. Maybe I don't know. We need proof there was a transfer. Okay, he said. We dig. He's a software engineer by day and a gossip archaeologist by night. He started checking the PDF metadata, the email headers, the Dropbox history. He reached out to a friend who knew a thing about digital forensics. I scrolled through the debut author's Instagram with a kind of cold fascination. Beach photos, a caption about my Tide book hitting shelves, a story highlight tagged number blessed. I closed the app like it might bite me. By midnight, my desk looked like a courtroom. Printouts, highlighter, sticky notes caging pages. I opened my manuscript and read passages next to the other book. Sentence by sentence. Not exact, no. But the bones were there. The structure, the turns. And the ledger, my ledger, kept appearing like a watermark. Z. Eli said gently. Look. He turned his screen toward me. Dropbox showed a change history. The package folder had been accessed by a user with a corporate address that matched the debut author's agent, and a subfolder labeled Dev Notes had a file called Salt Thorn, Dev Edits, ZW, Docs. ZW. My initials. I clicked and it asked for permission. Eli looked at me. We can request access, he said. They might say no. Do it, I said. He sent the request with a bland note. Hi, lost access after a computer crash. Can you re-grant? We waited. We ate cold pizza and watched the fog walk back in from the river. At 2 a.m. a notification pinged like a tiny bell in a cathedral. Access granted, Eli said, eyebrows shooting up. We opened the document. My words. My scenes. Comments in the margin from an editor I didn't know. Can we push the antler shatter to Cha 12? Bigger twist. Another. Ledger beads need an image. Could be shells? The top of the doc said. Developmental pass Miranda's client Zadie Wren. I put my hand over my mouth. Eli whispered a swear. We scrolled. At the bottom of the comments pane, a note I recognized. Miranda's voice, even in track changes. Love the Salt Harvester chorus. Protect at all costs. My phone buzzed, loud in the hush. A new email. Subject line. Please read regarding Crown of Brine. The sender's name made my scalp prickle. Saria Bloom, Blue Lantern. The editor who had supposedly been circling. I clicked and skimmed. Every line felt like someone walking across thin ice. She wrote that she was aware of a situation and wanted to clear the air. She suggested a call to align on narratives and asked for discretion. Then, at the bottom, an attachment. Voicemail 23M4A. No explanation. Just that. I stared at the file, the tiny speaker icon, the timestamp of 2 weeks ago. My thumb hovered. Play it, Eli whispered. I tapped. Static, then a voice I knew too well. Miranda, late night husky. Hey Saria, it's me. So, the Wren girl is getting antsy. If we're going to slide this to... The audio popped, glitched, then resumed. No, she won't know. We'll call it convergent. Anyway, call me back. The clip ended. Silence grew teeth. I could hear my own breath, thin as sewing thread. Eli swallowed. Zadie, he said. What do you want to do? I looked at the open tabs, the comments with my name, the ledger beads turned from shells to marketing bullets. My hands stopped shaking. Something inside me clicked into place like a tide calendar lining up to the moon. I'm done sitting, I said. I'm going to publish my book, now. And I'm going to show everyone how it was taken. Eli nodded, like he'd been waiting for that sentence. Then we need a plan, he said. We need to gather, we need to post carefully, and we need to light a fuse. I reached for my phone to record a TikTok. The screen lit my face blue. Before I could hit record, another email slid into my inbox. Urgent red flag. CEASE and desist from a law firm I didn't recognize. My name spelled correctly in the subject line. I stared at it, heartbeat in my throat. The text preview read, any public statements will constitute defamation and tortious interference. I opened my mouth and couldn't find a word. Then, another notification popped up from an unknown Instagram account. Asterisk asterisk, I have receipts. I used to work for Miranda. Asterisk, asterisk. A DM request. 2 words only. Call me. I didn't sleep. I lay on my sofa with the cease and desist open on my phone, like a curse that might evaporate if I stared hard enough. Eli slept sitting up in my desk chair, hoodie over his face, laptop balanced on his legs like a stubborn cat. The river fog pressed against the window like it wanted in. At 6:11 a.m., the anonymous Instagram DM pinged again. Still there? I can prove what she did. I typed with cold thumbs. Who are you? 3 dots. Rowan. Former assistant. Miranda made me sign an NDA. I'm done being quiet. My heart did that uneven drum roll it does when life tilts. Phone? I wrote. A number appeared. I pressed call before courage could change its mind. Zadie? A sleepy voice said. They sounded young and careful. This line is safe, they added. Burner. Rowan. I breathed. Thank you. A long exhale on the other end. I'm sorry, they said. She's been. This is how she works. She packages. She Frankensteins. That's literally the verb she uses in meetings. My mouth tasted like pennies. Start at the beginning, I said, voice small but steady. Rowan did. They used to be Miranda's assistant at Cross Literary. Low pay, long hours, exposure as a currency. Miranda kept a spreadsheet called Harvest Projects, with parts circled, characters that could be merged into other authors' brands, world-building elements flagged as portable. She would say, readers don't care about provenance. They care about vibes, Rowan said, voice shaking now. She had a deck, the salt deck after you sent your clean draft. I built the comp list for it. She sent it to 5 agents and 3 editors in a group chat called Brine Brain Trust. Eli sat up like a puppet yanked by a string. I put the phone on speaker. Names? He asked softly. Rowan, can you give us names? Rowan hesitated, then spilled. 3 names I recognized from Twitter, including the Bangs. 1 editor at Blue Lantern, 1 at Emberline, Miranda, a junior agent who always tweeted about ethics in publishing with pastel infographics. I have screenshots, Rowan said. I have the deck. And I have audio. She recorded her own calls to protect herself. I closed my eyes. Of course she did. Rowan, I said. There's an NDA. I know, they said. I'll take the hit. I've got a new job outside publishing. I can live with being poor. I can't live with this. Eli leaned forward. We won't let you take the hit alone, he said. We do this right, we share the load. Rowan sent a Dropbox link that landed like a meteor in our inbox. Harvest. XLSX. Salt Deck. PPTX. Brine Brain Trust. Export. Zip. I clicked, and the world rearranged itself. Slide 1. The Salt Thorn Opportunity. Bullet points that were my heart split into marketing bites. Asterisk unique ledger mechanic. Tide-based justice system. Visual antler divided by crown motif strong cover potential. Asterisk. Slide 5. Seeding strategy. Asterisk. Transfer to brand, a voice. Reduce lyricism by 20%. Move antler shatter to chi, 12, twist. Asterisk. I felt my breath go shallow. It's like watching someone make sausage with your veins, I said quietly. Rowan gave a terrible laugh. You haven't seen the worst, they said. Check the Slack export. We opened the zip. There it was in flat text. Number Brine Brain Trust. Miranda posting my Google Doc link. The Blue Lantern editor's thumbs up emoji. Then the debut author, Maris Vale, typing, this ledger thing is cool, can it be beads more visual? And someone else replying, yeah, shells, coastal. My vision fuzzed. Not because they'd changed shells to beads, because Maris was in the chat. She had seen my document. She had typed in the same thread as my work. Any charity I had left for coincidence evaporated like fog at noon. Rowan's voice came through the static. The NDA is attached, too. You'll see it's designed to muzzle assistants, not protect authors. I'm sending you one more thing. I walked it out of the office, on a flash drive the day I left. A new file landed. Salt Thorn, Dev Edits, ZW, Final, Docs, X. We'd seen a version last night, access granted by some sleepy intern at 2 a.m. This one didn't ask for permission. It just opened. The header said confidential. Miranda's comments danced along the right margin. At the top, asterisk team, keep Zadie in the dark, call everything convergent. If she posts, we paint her as volatile. Do not put any of this in email, asterisk. My stomach turned over. I looked at Eli. His face had built a whole new jawline from fury. We need a lawyer, he said. Today. I know someone, a voice said from my doorway. We both jumped. It was my neighbor, Heather, the bakery owner. She was holding a tray and a frown. You were yelling legal words, she said. Walls here are crepes. I brought cinnamon rolls as an apology and a bribe. Also, my sister's an IP attorney. I laughed because the universe had a sense of timing and a pastry budget. Bless you, I said. Heather texted while we split a roll that tasted like mercy. 20 minutes later, a new rectangle appeared on Eli's screen. A woman in a blazer with the kind of calm that makes alpacas kneel. Priya Das, she said. Oregon Justice Project. Heather says there's a fire. We showed her everything. I watched her watching, her eyes narrowing in precise millimeters. She didn't interrupt. When she did speak, it was surgical. First, she said, stop using the word steal publicly. It's accurate for your heart, but litigious for your throat. Use phrases like uncanny overlap, documented similarities, access, and substantial similarity. Second, the cease and desist is bluster. They're trying to intimidate, but they could escalate to a temporary restraining order if they think you'll publish. So we'll be precise. We'll hold our fire, and then we'll flood the zone. I nodded so hard my neck cracked. What about the NDA? I asked. Rowan's at risk. Priya's mouth did a tiny grim smile. NDA enforceability is mushy when they're used to hide wrongdoing, she said. And we have something stronger. Truth. You don't need to call anyone a thief. You show your drafts, your timestamps, their Slack, their deck. You let Book Talk do the math. Book Talk, the tide that had carried me. The tide Miranda thought she could surf without getting salt in her eyes. We built the plan over coffee and humming bakery ovens. Step 1. Lock everything down. We backed up my drafts to 3 drives and a cloud vault. Eli made a clean evidence folder with hashes. Priya drafted a statement built of facts, not fire. Step 2. Pre-press. I had formatted the book before, thinking maybe I'd self-publish if nothing shook loose. Now the decision tasted less like defeat and more like oxygen. We set up on KDP and Ingram Spark. We commissioned a rush cover from a designer on Fiverr who specialized in moody maritime women and crowns. I DM'd the librarian in Ohio who had begged to pre-order. She sent back, I've got 40 teens ready to read and riot. Step 3. The video. We filmed in my kitchen with the fog like a ghost audience outside. I wore a sweater my mother liked, and no makeup because I wanted my face to look like mine. We wrote the script in bullet points. No adjectives, all verbs. I am Zadie Wren. I wrote a book called The Salt Thorn Crown. I submitted it to Agent X on March 7, 20X. These are the timestamps. These are the unique elements. Here is access by Y. Here is overlap A, B, C. Here is a voicemail. Here is a Slack channel. I am not alleging theft in a legal sense. I am alleging access and substantial similarity. I am publishing my book, with receipts. Priya reviewed it. She cut 2 lines and added 3. Good, she said. Last thing. Invite Book Talk to check your sources. Tell them where the files will be, watermarked. Trust them. Trust is a terrifying trapeze. But I climbed the ladder. We posted at noon. The bakery smelled like confetti. Within 30 minutes, the numbers went outer space. Comments stacked like bricks. Librarians, booksellers, writers who said they had seen the deck. Assistants whispering in DMs. I have a harvest too. I pinned the Dropbox with the receipts. I kept drinking water because my mouth had turned to museum air. Then, the pushback started. The debut author, Maris, posted a Notes app screenshot. I would never knowingly. Convergent evolution in fantasy is real. Women tearing down women. Her followers flooded my comments with sea snake emojis. A Blue Lantern PR account tweeted that misinformation is harmful. Miranda posted a photo of a latte next to a manuscript with the caption, working number grateful, like the universe was a hostage. I almost threw my phone into the river. Hold, Priya said in my ear. Let the tide swing. Don't clap back. Just keep posting documents. Keep it dry. We did. Eli uploaded the dev doc with my initials. Rowan, brave as a lighthouse, posted their NDA and a blurred brain trust screenshot with the names redacted, but the dates visible. Saria, the Blue Lantern editor who had emailed me, wrote again. I'm ready to go on record, she said. Call me. We called. She was brittle and furious. This is not how I work, she said. I flagged concerns 2 months ago and got benched. I sent you the voicemail because I hoped you'd push. If they fire me, so be it. We asked if Maris saw my full manuscript. Yes, Saria said. In the Slack. She asked if she could borrow the salt choruses and Miranda wrote protect at all costs. I didn't realize I was crying until Eli handed me a paper towel. They always make it sound glamorous to have your life become content. It isn't. It's sticky and loud, and your breakfast gets cold. By evening, two things happened at once. KDP approved my pre-order, and my TikTok went down. Community guidelines, harassment and bullying, the banner said. Half my evidence links broke like tiny legs. I sat there and felt the horrible swing between triumph and silenced echo. They mass reported, Eli said, already appealing. Priya was on her second phone with a friend at TikTok who owed her too many favors. Heather made more cinnamon rolls because sometimes sugar is a spell. At 9:03 p.m., there was a knock on my door. Not a neighbor knock. A cop knock. 3 heavy thuds that made my spine try to leave my body. I opened it with my heart in my mouth. A man stood there, in a rain-dark jacket, holding a white envelope like a gun. Zadie Wren? He said. I nodded. You've been served, he said, and handed me papers as thick as a novella. In order to show cause application for temporary restraining order. Eli swore under his breath. Priya's voice came through speaker like a wire tightening. Do not panic, she said. We wanted this fight above the table. Now we have it. I flipped the packet with shaking hands. There, in black letters that looked like someone had poured oil into my life, was the name of the plaintiff. Not Miranda. Not the agency. Maris Vale. She was suing me to stop my book, claiming I was interfering with her career. My head buzzed like the ocean in a shell. And then, stapled to the back, a declaration with one line that detonated the room. I never saw Miss Wren's manuscript prior to the publication of Crown of Brine. But we had a Slack with her comments. We had timestamps. We had, my phone buzzed. A new DM, from Maris Vale. I need to talk. It wasn't like you think. When I saw her name, Maris Vale, pop up in my DMs, my first thought wasn't anger. It was nausea. Because for one wild second, I believed she might actually say something that would make sense, that this nightmare had an explanation buried somewhere between miscommunication and industry chaos. I handed my phone to Eli like it was a live wire. He frowned. You can't talk to her alone. I know, I said, but if she's reaching out now after the lawsuit, she's scared. Or she's baiting you, he said. Don't forget who signed that declaration. I didn't. But curiosity is a weapon I've never learned to sheath. So, I messaged back. You talk, I listen, recorded line, 10 minutes. She replied almost instantly. Fine. Just, not a call. FaceTime. I need you to see me. My stomach nodded. She wants video, I told Eli. He shrugged. We record the screen. I pressed accept. Her face filled my phone blurry, tear shiny, lit by the kind of sterile apartment light that makes everyone look like a ghost of themselves. Zadie, she said. Her voice was softer than I expected, hoarse, cracking. I didn't know. I swear to God. I said nothing. The silence worked like a confession booth. They told me it was an internal concept, she said quickly. Something from their dev team. I got a packet, just world notes. No names, no drafts. Miranda said it was an agency share, like how screenwriters get spec universes. Her words hit my chest like hail. I'd heard of that in Hollywood. Writers' rooms, shared IP. But not in books. Not like this. You saw my file in Slack, I said. Your comments are in the margins. She flinched. I thought it was a development document. I didn't realize it belonged to someone real. Someone real? My laugh came out wrong, sharp and wet. I'm a human being, Maris. A breathing, unpaid, coffee-fueled human being who spent 3 years on that world. She covered her mouth. They told me the creator was gone. That the writer backed out. They told you I was gone? I repeated. Gone as in what? Dead? She didn't answer. Behind me, Eli mouthed record everything. Why message me now? I asked. Her eyes darted off screen. Because Miranda's cleaning house. She's scrubbing chats, deleting drives. She said if I keep quiet, Blue Lantern will stand by me. But, she exhaled hard, there's an email chain. She forwarded your doc to me directly. I didn't open the file then, but I still have the header data. I can prove access. My pulse pounded in my ears. So you can clear your name by throwing her under the bus. She shook her head. I want to make it right. I'll testify if I have to, but I need protection. I don't have your audience. They'll crush me. Priya's voice buzzed in my AirPods from the muted call we'd kept open. Ask her to forward that email right now. Don't promise anything. I relayed it. Maris bit her lip, then typed. Seconds later, Eli's laptop pinged. Header data, time-stamped, 3 months before Crown of Brine's deal announcement. The file name, Saltthorn. Clean draft. Wren. DocX. I felt my hands shake. Zadie, Maris whispered, you have to believe me. I didn't want this. They told me to post the lawsuit, said it'd make me look like the victim. They control everything. I'm not the villain here. I looked at her face, streaked with panic and mascara, and for a moment, God help me, I almost pitied her. Then, my phone buzzed with another email. Subject. Urgent statement from Cross Literary Management. It was already hitting Twitter. The statement read, recent defamatory accusations have targeted one of our agents and a valued author, Miss Maris Vale. We are cooperating with counsel and will pursue damages. Miss Wren's self-published material appears substantially derived from earlier collaborative development materials, making her the infringer. They flipped the narrative. In public. In real time, Maris saw my face fall. They said they'd wait what? The call ended. Eli stared at me. They're accusing you of stealing your own book. I couldn't even speak. My body went cold from the inside out. That night, everything blurred. Book talk split into camps. Number Justice for Zadie trended for a few hours, then number Protect Maris overtook it. Publishers posted cryptic subtweets about messy online drama. My phone was a wildfire. Friends, strangers, journalists, threats, support. Heather knocked again, third time that week. She just handed me soup and said, eat before you forget you're human. When she left, Eli said quietly, they want you exhausted. It's how they win. I stared at my screen. Then I'll rest later. Tonight, we flood them with truth. We went live. Priya joined off camera. Eli monitored comments. I spoke straight to the lens. Cross Literary is now claiming I stole from them. They say my book came from their development materials. Let's look at those materials, shall we? I pulled up Miranda's Slack messages, time-stamped before the so-called development phase. Then, the Dropbox log showing she uploaded my doc. Then, the metadata from the email Maris just sent. These aren't development notes. They're theft receipts. And they're about to be in every journalist's inbox by sunrise. The chat exploded. Hearts, comments, screaming emojis. Within 10 minutes, the live hit 500,000 viewers. Then, something unexpected happened. A new account verified. Blue Lantern's corporate handle commented, we are suspending all current projects with Cross Literary pending investigation. The chat went nuclear. Eli stared. They just cut her off. Not her, everyone under her, Priya said, voice trembling with restrained triumph. They're trying to save themselves before the dam breaks. 2 hours later, while Eli and I scrolled through chaos, a private message arrived from a journalist at The Verge. They wanted an exclusive with full document verification. Priya approved. Controlled exposure, perfect timing. We stayed up until dawn compiling a shared folder titled Operation Saltlight. It had everything: Slack exports, voicemails, headers, NDAs. Priya watermarked each file with a timestamp and her firm's letterhead. When we hit send, the room felt lighter, like air after a storm. But the storm wasn't done. At 8:42 a.m., Miranda herself went live. Instagram. Designer robe. Latte again. She smiled that media-trained smile. Writers, she said. Create together. We draw from the same myths. I'm heartbroken by the smear campaign against my clients. I wish Zadie healing. Healing. As if she hadn't gutted me and hung my ribs out to dry. The comments under her stream were split clean down the middle. Half calling her a visionary, half calling her a thief. But then, midstream, something changed. A flood of comments started appearing, thousands, identical. Number harvest files. I looked at Eli. What the hell is that? He opened Twitter. Rowan had leaked everything. The entire harvest spreadsheet, every author, every Frankenstein project, every client file Miranda had ever cannibalized. Over 30 names. And one of them right near the top was mine. But beneath it, under project status, was a note in bold red. Reclamation pending, Wren likely to go rogue. I couldn't breathe. They'd seen me coming. They knew I'd fight back. And someone, maybe Miranda, maybe the agency had already prepared a plan for me. My phone rang. Unknown number. Priya answered before I could. She listened, then mouthed, FBI? My pulse jumped. When she hung up, her face was pale. That was real, she said. They've opened a criminal investigation into the agency. Fraud, copyright violation, RICO-level conspiracy. The harvest files blew it wide open. I just sat there, coffee cold, hands trembling. It was finally happening, the tide turning. But tides don't stop for anyone. Because 5 minutes later, another notification hit my inbox. From Miranda Cross. Subject: You don't know who you're dealing with. Attached was a photo, grainy, nighttime, of me, taken from across the street, through my apartment window, and a line beneath it. You want revenge, Zadie? Let's see how far you're willing to go. When you've been stalked online long enough, you start to expect the trolls. What you don't expect is the photo. Taken through your own window. From the street, at night. The email was still open on my laptop. From Miranda Cross. Subject: You don't know who you're dealing with. The photo showed me sitting at my desk, writing. The same sweater, the same coffee mug. Someone had been there, outside, watching. My throat went dry. Eli froze beside me. Jesus. Zadie, when was this? Last night, I whispered. I remembered the chill I'd felt around midnight. The way I'd shut the curtains halfway but not all the way. Okay, Eli said, voice trembling but calm. Step 1. Move away from the window. Step 2. Call Priya. Step 3. Lock everything. He was already dialing. Priya arrived within an hour. Trench coat, coffee, no nonsense. She called the police, showed them the photo, logged the email chain. They took it seriously, because now it wasn't just copyright, it was harassment. Digital crimes leave fingerprints, Priya said, scrolling. She'll slip. She turned to me. We document everything. But, Zadie, don't post this yet. Not the photo. We use it strategically. Strategically? I asked. Revenge isn't fire, she said. It's frostbite. Slow, targeted, permanent. That night I couldn't sleep. Every shadow on the wall looked like her silhouette. Every sound from the bakery below felt like a footstep on my ceiling. I opened my laptop and started writing not a new fantasy story this time, but a memoir draft. A raw, first-person chronicle of the theft, the manipulation, the aftermath. Not just mine, Rowan's, Saria's, all of us who'd been fed into the machine. I called it, The Harvested. Eli woke at 3 a.m. to find me typing. Are you really writing another book while being stalked? He asked. I'm writing everything down, I said. If I disappear, I want the world to know exactly who took my voice. He didn't argue, just made more coffee. The next morning, book talk was a war zone. Number harvest files was trending worldwide. Authors were finding pieces of their own manuscripts in the leaked spreadsheet. One romance writer posted, "They turned my trauma essay into someone else's subplot. Cross Literary went dark, website gone, accounts deactivated. Miranda? Silent. Until she wasn't. At noon, she posted a 30-second video. Her smile was gone this time. Her eyes looked dangerous. People think they can play with fire and not get burned, she said. But remember, truth isn't always what you think it is. No caption, just the sound of ocean waves at the end. It wasn't subtle. Priya's team traced the threatening email. The IP address led back to a WeWork building in Portland, one Miranda had used for meetings. Surveillance footage placed her there 2 nights ago. The cops issued a restraining order. She'd violated it before it was even served another email. This one blank except for an attachment. A PDF titled Salt Ledger. PDF. Inside were screenshots of my private texts with Eli pulled from iCloud backups. Some personal, some angry. One message where I'd vented. I want her to feel what she did to me. I want her to choke on it. Miranda captioned it. Threats from the so-called victim. She was trying to flip the narrative again. Eli paced. She hacked you. That's a federal crime. Priya nodded. And she just handed us proof of it. I looked at the text, my anger turned into ammunition against me. I hated how accurate it was. By evening, the Verge article dropped. Headline: The Harvest Files. How a literary agent built books out of stolen drafts. They named names, quoted evidence, Rowan's testimony, Saria's audio, even a still image from Miranda's voicemail. The publishing world imploded. Blue Lantern issued a formal apology. Authors dropped their contracts. Miranda's name became shorthand for betrayal. But the article ended with one haunting line. Miss Cross could not be reached for comment. Her current whereabouts are unknown. Unknown. Eli looked at me. She's running, he said. I didn't answer. Because I knew what my gut was saying. She wasn't running. She was circling. 2 nights later, while baking with Heather downstairs to distract myself, the lights flickered. Then my phone buzzed with a new TikTok notification. At Miranda Cross Official Live Now. The thumbnail stopped my breath. It was my street, filmed from a car window. Eli shouted from upstairs. Zadie, she's outside. We ran out to the porch. Nothing but fog and the soft sound of waves. I checked the live feed again. It had already ended. Her final frame was a street sign. Commercial Street. Mine. My hands trembled, but my voice didn't. She wants a performance? I said. Fine, I'll give her one. The next day, I went live myself. Same format, same tone, but this time, I didn't talk about the theft. I talked about fear. How do you fight someone who steals your work, your words, your safety? I asked. You stop running. You document everything. You stand in your own light until they can't survive the glare. At the end, I lifted my phone toward the window. The sunlight hit my face. Miranda Cross, I said. You wanted my name. Now the world knows yours. That clip hit 10 million views in 6 hours. The next morning, Priya called. They found her car, she said quietly. Abandoned. Coast Highway, near Tillamook. No Miranda inside. Just her phone and a hard drive labeled Harvest Master. For a moment, I couldn't move. Fog rolled past my window again, thick and white. Eli whispered. You did it. It's over. But I wasn't sure, because when the police decrypted the drive, one last document sat at the top. Wren. 2. Doc Sachs. It was dated 3 days ago, and the first line read, The ocean remembers everything it's owed, my opening line. But rewritten. As if she'd started writing my sequel. The file name on that hard drive still haunts me. Wren. 2. DocX. 3 simple characters that told me she wasn't done. The police took it. Priya stayed calm, lawyers are good at calm. But I saw the worry in her eyes. Eli tried to joke. Maybe she was trying to ghostwrite your sequel. But it wasn't funny. Because part of me knew Miranda's obsession wasn't with the story anymore. It was with control. For 2 weeks, everything slowed to legal paperwork and news coverage. The FBI investigation expanded. Cross Literary's assets were frozen, and journalists from every corner of publishing wanted interviews. But I didn't want fame. I wanted peace. So I went back to the only place that ever made sense. My desk by the bakery window. Fog, cinnamon, the river bell. I opened the Salt Thorn Crown again. Not the file, but the printed copy. The book I had published myself. The book that, despite everything, readers were now discovering in droves. There were fan videos. Art of Rena and her glass crown. A Reddit thread analyzing the ledger system like it was real mythology. I scrolled through them in silence, feeling something I hadn't felt in months. Pride. Because no matter what Miranda did, my story lived, and that was the one thing she couldn't steal. One morning, Rowan called. Their voice was steadier now. They're building a class action suit, they said. Every author in the Harvest spreadsheet. You're the lead witness. Witness, I repeated. The word felt heavier than victim. Stronger somehow. Priya prepared me. She said the hearing would be televised, part of the Transparency Initiative. I'd testify remotely from Oregon. When the day came, I sat in that same little studio above the bakery, camera light blinking red, hands trembling but still typing notes to keep my focus. The prosecutor asked me what I wanted from all this. And I said, I don't want money. I don't want fame. I want a system where writers don't disappear into other people's profits. The clip went viral, again. But this time, not because of drama. Because it sounded like closure. That night, when the verdict came in, the judge's words felt like music. The court finds that Cross Literary Management and its representatives engaged in willful copyright infringement, fraudulent misrepresentation, and breach of fiduciary duty. Miranda's license was revoked. Her agency dissolved. The stolen works were reverted to their rightful authors. When the live feed ended, I just sat there. No cheering, no tears, just stillness. Eli brought me tea and said quietly, You won. But it didn't feel like winning. It felt like breathing again after being underwater for too long. I finally opened that last file from the hard drive. Wren, 2, docs. It wasn't another theft. It was unfinished. Only one paragraph long. It read, She thinks the tide took everything. But the tide gives back too. It gives back to those who wait. For the first time, I felt sorry for her. Because maybe Miranda had once loved stories too. Before she started mining them like currency, I closed the file, and for the first time in months, slept without fear. 6 months later, I stood on a small stage at a Portland bookstore. The room smelled like coffee and fresh paper. Rows of faces, some strangers, some friends, some who had fought beside me online. The event poster read, Zadie Wren, The Saltthorn Crown, Truth, Creation, and Taking Back Your Voice. I looked up from the podium, smiled nervously, and said, I used to think revenge was about destruction. Now I think it's about reclamation. It's taking what was stolen and breathing your own name back into it. People nodded. Phones lifted. A few tears. I read an excerpt from The Harvested, the memoir I'd finished in the quiet months after the trial. It wasn't bitter. It was alive. It was mine. After the event, a young woman approached me, maybe 20. Holding a notebook to her chest like armor, she whispered, I almost quit writing after what happened to you. But I didn't. That hit harder than any verdict. Because that's how you win, not by ruining your enemy, but by refusing to vanish. That evening, I walked the riverwalk alone. The sunset turned the water the color of rose gold. Gulls wheeled above the docks, laughing like they knew secrets. I thought of Rena the Queen, who kept a ledger of debts paid in shells. And I realized the last entry was mine. I owed myself forgiveness. I owed the world one last story. So I went home, opened a new document, and typed, Book 2, The Sea That Remembers. And for the first time, the cursor blinked without fear. I smiled, because revenge wasn't my ending. It was my beginning.